With the series between the 76ers and the Heat going back to Philly for game 3, if Joel Embiid plays, do you think that he is essentially the 76ers' last hope for Philly to get back into the series?
Well, we all know that obviously he is averaging basically 30 points per game this series or this season. We know that he is an MVP candidate. We know that he is one of the best players in the NBA at this current moment in time. So I would say that, yeah, he's more than likely going to be their only chance at them surviving this series. And even when he comes back, and if he comes back, he may be limited and hindered because of the injury he sustained last round. Now I'm looking at this and I'm saying, are they gonna force the ball inside to him now if he does come back for game 3? Are they going to be looking to him to just kind of create his own offense as he normally does? Are they gonna be taking shot attempts away from Tyrese Maxey and James Harden? You kinda just don't know. There's just a lot of moving pieces here. But, of course, Joel Embiid on the court gives anybody, or should I say, that gives Philly the best props. I can't really speak today. I apologize, guys. I'm a little under the weather, and Dallas is just absolutely shitting the bed. We're now down 18 in the fourth. It's just an incredible day for me. Kind of just going through it right now. Like I said, Joel Embiid on the court for anybody makes any team better. And in this case, obviously, Philadelphia needs him more than anything. They're going to need a better offensive output. They're going to need a better defensive anchor. And quite frankly, they're just going to need some help. James Harden clearly can't carry the load by himself. I mean, for God's sakes, Tyrese Maxey is the leading scorer on this team with 34 points tonight. And that is absolutely unacceptable for the price you paid to go and get James Harden, for all the hype that James Harden had. It just goes to show that Joel was always the Batman to James Harden's Robin. And it is just blatantly apparent. James is turning the ball over. He's not shooting at an efficient clip. I mean, the list really goes on and on, but in terms of Joel Embiid being necessary on the court in order for Philadelphia to provide somewhat success on their own home court, I think is immediately pivotal. Again, I don't know to what extent he'll be available to play if he does, but Joel on the court, he's got to be given at least 15, 20 shot attempts because his impact is unmatched, and obviously they miss him desperately.
I mean, the way that I see it, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. If the 76ers want to get back into the series, they're going to need Joel on the court immediately. And when I look at this game four, not this game four, but this game two that the Heat had against the 76ers, I mean, they absolutely dominated the paint down low on the defensive side when it came to just rebounds. I mean, for God's sakes, the Heat out rebounded the 76ers 47-37. Joel is on this team. That is a much more even split moving forward. And that's just from the defensive side. When you look at the offensive side, I mean, it's clear as day they miss Joel. And if they have any shot to win this series, Joel is going to have to be back in the lineup. So when I look at these first two games that Philly's had, I mean, they're getting decent production from Tyrese Maxey. And you could also look at guys like Tobias Harris that are chipping in and putting up solid numbers in the first two games, despite the fact that they've lost both games. And like Kevin said, they're just not getting enough production from James Harden. I mean, James Harden is one of the most prolific scorers this generation has to offer. And through the first two games of this series, he's averaging 18 points. He scored 16 points in the first game, scored 20 in game two. It's just not enough. And despite the fact that he's taking 15 shots, you got to expect more from him if the 76ers are going to have any viable chance to upset the Heat and possibly get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, when it comes to Joel specifically, I think Joel is going to be wearing that mask. He's worn the mask before. Still, he doesn't have any issues with his eye because he's been dealing with that fractured orbital bone that he suffered at the end of the Toronto series just a couple days ago. And I do think that just his presence alone, if he is inserted back into the lineup for game three, I think it's going to pay dividends for the 76ers in a big way. There's a very good chance that if Joel plays game three, and then you would probably assume that he played game four, that Miami could be in a situation where they go back to Miami for game five and that the series is tied 2-2 just because Joel's presence is that pivotal for Philadelphia moving forward. I mean, for God's sakes, Joel is at the top of the MVP discussion this year, basically averaging 30 points a game. And I think it pretty much goes without saying that you look at some of these point totals that Philly's put up in the first two games, you put Joel in here, there's a chance that Philly could put up 120, 125 points against Miami. And in game two, specifically, mean, Miami scored 119 points. You put Joel in there, the 76ers could potentially score 125 points and, the series could be tied. So, like, that's really kind of the difference maker moving forward here. I think when it's all said and done, I don't know if Philly's going to be able to dig themselves out of the hole that they're currently in. And that's despite the fact that Joel could come back in this series. I really think that looking back at these first two games, they would have had to split one of these games in Miami to have any sort of chance to win the series. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's over and that, Philly should pack their bags and, head straight to Cancun for the Cancun Invitational. But at this point, they're in a pretty dire situation. And I think the only way they get back into this series is if they win both games in Philly and Joel is going to have to pop off. So hopefully that's the best case scenario for Philly, that they tie the series so that when they go to game 5 back in Miami, that anybody's serious at that point. But it's going to be tough for Philly to win both of these games, because I could definitely see them winning game 3, but I could definitely see Miami getting it back in game 4. And then, I mean, if Miami wins any one of these games in Philly, it essentially ends this series, despite if Joel's back or not. So it's really pivotal that Philly get Joel back immediately, because if they don't, you could pretty much just wrap this series up in 5. Because Miami, just as a team, Miami is just a unit from top to bottom. And I don't see Philly making it a competitive effort if Joel's not in the line. So Philly's in a lot of trouble, but if they get Joel back, it'll definitely help them. That's just how I see it.